Here, Northwestern State head coach Blaine McCorkle ahead of Saturday's game with Weber State. And coach, we talked about it. You and I did on the huddle at least, but game like last Thursday, you just gotta flush it and move on as quickly. It's probably not even a 24-hour rule. It's probably about a 3-hour rule with a game like that.
Yeah, it's about a 3-minute rule. You want to get that one over with and move on. But as we've said many times, you lose or you learn, and there's a lot of lessons from that game that we need to take and apply and use to make ourselves better individually and collectively as a team. And we don't want to waste that either. You do want to move on, but you don't want to waste it. And I think there's a lot of lessons that our guys learned, that we learned as a staff about our program and where we are and where we need to go. But I've said, too, at the same time, it was such an odd game and an odd outcome that I don't think anybody, if you're paying attention to our program, would really be surprised that something like that could happen with the state of our program. It just shows how far we've still got to go. We've made tremendous progress. I'm very proud of where we are and where we're going, but it does reveal that there's still definitely a lot of work to be done.
Well, you get to play again on Saturdays. That's the good thing about college football. You turn right back around and do it. You'll do it against Weber State team that comes in and may have a little chip on their shoulder after what happened down at Lamar last Saturday, dropping that game to the Cardinals. But interconference matchup against a Big Sky team that's going to bring a pretty good pedigree to Natchitoches.
Yeah, they are, and they flew down to Beaumont last week and got knocked off in a down to the wire, down to the last play game, 17-16 at Lamar. And credit Lamar, congrats to them, representing our conference well against the Big Sky. So good for them. But Weber, I'm sure that you're right. They'll have a little chip on their shoulder and feel like they need to prove something coming back out this way again 2 weeks in a row. And they're a good football team. When they went into Lamar last week, they were number 20 in the nation for a reason. It's a perennial power at our level. They're a playoff team, every other year, if not every year. And we got to work cut out for us. It's a good football team. They're big, they're physical, they're extremely disciplined and well coached. And we'll have to be on our game Saturday night for sure.
Following the first home game, you get a lot of compliments with an I. I know you're looking for complimentary with an E football from your team.
Yeah, that's right. We've got to help each other out in all three phases. And, that's one thing that I think last Thursday night in Mobile, we had to force ourselves to do a little bit. When the defense was struggling, the offense had to get away from its game plan a little bit to try to slow the game down and had to adjust some things in the kick game to protect our returns. And those are things as we grow and mature as a program that we've got to learn to do is play complementary football and help each other out and put together a true four-quarter team effort where, defense gets a turnover, we got to capitalize. Offense gets in a bind, defense got to find a way to flip the field position, and all those things are really important. So we're making progress, and we'll get there, and that's just part of the growing process as you try to build a program.
For you guys, you talked about turning turnovers into points. You have done that. For the most part, when you have forced turnovers, matter of fact, last week was the first game you had not forced a turnover, but you've been able to convert those, so at least there's something to build on that constant continual improvement in that category.
Yeah, there is, and those are areas that we've done well, but we don't want to rest on that. You have to keep emphasizing them and make sure they didn't just happen by chance, that those are things that are focused on and coached all the time, and the kids understand the situation. Situational awareness is a huge part of the game, and you're not just running a play or a defense because we called it. There's a reason for the time and the place that those things are called. And as our kids start to understand those things better, and that's one of the things we challenged them this week with, one of the goals for the week is to improve our football IQ and just understanding game plan schemes, not just the what, but the why and the how, to put the whole thing together. Those will make them better football players individually and make us a better team collectively.
Miles Kent Denton has had quite a start to his season. The two big plays, obviously we knew the big play ability was there. He had a 54-yard catch last season, but where has he made the biggest strides just in the 6-7 months you've been here? Obviously you had a lot of faith in him. We talked about calling the first play back in the spring, knowing it was going to go to him, and he executed it. But the strides he's taken have been the biggest in what area?
Well, one of the most impressive things that I've seen Miles do was to watch all summer. Every time the lights were on, him and JT were out here working. And I think they've got a really good chemistry. They've got a lot of time invested together, and that gives me a lot of confidence as a coach to know that those two guys can go out there together and make a play. And Miles is a good football player, and he's got the ability to break a game open at any time. And the biggest thing is I trust him because I know his work ethic. I know his commitment to the team. I know where his heart's at. And, I say all the time that if you ever hear coaches say that they don't play favorites, they're lying. Well, I play favorites. Miles Kent Denton's one of my favorites because I trust him, and I know where he's at, and I know where he stands with the team, and I know that if I need him to make a play, he'll make a play, and I know he's doing all the things right off the field as well to give himself the best chance to be a good football player on Saturday. So, kind of the follow-up with that part about your favorites is sometimes you hear, parents or fans say, well, that coach plays his favorites. Well, why aren't you his favorite? It's your job to please the boss. And Miles does that because he comes to work every day and he's got a great attitude, and that allows us to put him in positions to make the plays that he's got the ability to do.
So what happens quicker, him getting down the field on a 70-yard bomb or him earning your trust? Because it sounded like pretty much almost right from the jump, which is not easy with a new staff coming in. He showed very quickly that he could earn that trust.
There's a lot of people that can catch a 70-yard bomb. So that always, that part's easy to recognize in a hurry. And there's a lot of players in a lot of locker rooms that can make plays, but that doesn't mean they're all going to get the opportunity because they have to earn the right to do that. And Miles is a guy who's earned the right to do that, so he gets those opportunities. It's not that hard of a recipe to figure out. The two have to go together.
We're sitting here with the Spirit of Northwestern behind us playing. That was not planned. It just happened this way. But they played a big role in that first game in creating an atmosphere. And what did that atmosphere do? 2 games on the road, you've seen what it can do. 1 game at home, you've seen what it can do as well. But the good crowd, the atmosphere that was built here for your first home game, how important was that, and how important is it to have something similar going into game 2 at home?
Well, it's huge. Those guys out there, they're incredible. That's one of the highest standard organizations on our campus is the Spirit of Northwestern. And band director Anthony Purcell's my next door neighbor, actually, and he and I swap a lot of ideas and thoughts. And what he does and what I do are so similar. Leading the band and coaching a football team, there's a lot of crossover, and we talk over the top of the fence a lot about those things. And those guys are great. They bring a great atmosphere. 2 of our first 3 games have been in FBS stadiums with maybe a little bit bigger crowd and atmosphere, but I think that game we had against Prairie View 2 weeks ago was just as exciting and loud and home field advantage, great atmosphere as the 2 FBSs we played in. And I challenge people, if you came 2 weeks ago to Prairie View and you had a good time and you liked watching good football, come back again this week because these kids still need you back in their corner and need to be encouraged and show up this Saturday night and watch more good quality college football right here in Natchitoches.
Maybe add another piece of complimentary football?
That's right.
Coach, as always, thanks for your time.
All right.